Alright, so I know I haven't made a video in a while, and that's really because this last summer I didn't do anything on my boat, really. I actually disassembled a boat like mine, so I kind of like single-handedly disassembled the 42-foot Chris Craft. Not plank by plank or anything like that, mainly just the furniture on the inside, the dressers, the ice box out of the kitchen, which was amazing, like, built. So we got a lot of stuff off that boat, you know, all the chrome knickknacks, the engines, transmissions, all that, generator, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I took off the rear deck, which is all teak planks that were in better condition than mine, and so really just even the rear deck, getting that off that boat essentially paid for the boat. And then there's a lot of stuff that I'm going to sell. On eBay, I'm kind of currently in the middle of listing that stuff. Polishing chrome, getting it up there, stuff that I'm not keeping or I'm putting his stuff on my boat and then selling my stuff. So anyway, what I've been working on though right now is the front deck. And it's really hot up here because, as you can see, my boat is once again entirely covered in plastic, and so it's like a greenhouse. Although I just hung this bed sheet over this section right here, and that's amazingly cooler. So I'm gonna have to like go to Goodwill and buy a bunch of white sheets and just do that, because that's helping immensely. Otherwise, I mean, the air temperature is like maybe 58 outside, and it's probably 90 something where I am right now. So it's amazing the little greenhouse effect that goes on with this plastic. You know, I just hopped down inside the hatch, which I don't really know where I did. So I just kind of wanted to document this before I got any further. It's hard to hoist myself out because the ceiling is so low, and it's kind of like some bizarre gymnastics move. So anyway, the route that I decided to take with this was essentially I take a razor knife, wow, where out there I am, and I cut right along the seam and kind of towards the middle on both sides, so it makes a V, and then that gets a lot of the caulk out, as you can see right there. And then I go through with my router, and very carefully, although I can rig up a guide, where the hell? I can't see the screen, so it's hard to, and then I route them out. Looks amazing. I'm really happy with it. So, part of the reason I did that was because, you know, this boat's in its 7th decade, and people have, I mean, you can see, like with this one, you see how uneven that is. I mean, look at that, that's, yeah. And originally the seams were an 1/8 inch, so what I did was, went and got a 3/16 router bit on my plunge router, and after I get out the majority of the caulk, like, it looks like there's caulk in there, but there's just a little bit down at the bottom. But it's enough to make it look black. So. But yeah, and then I route it out, and I mean, they're not like perfectly straight, but I think they definitely look better than they did. You can see that previous owners have, like that's a staple. I don't know if I got that one all the way out or not, but there's all kinds of stuff like that. It just kills me. These boards were coming up, and so they use steel screws. It's just like, fuck, man. Really? Damn. So, there's stuff like that, and it's everywhere. I mean, all the little dark spots on the windshield, those are all staples. Now, we'll see how much I can bleach that out. The other reason I went with 3/16 is there's been a little bit of spreading in my boat. I mean, this front part of my boat has probably spread maybe like 1 inch, as in like the boat has gone, you know, like this. Like if it's like that, the boat is kind of gone like that. And I think that's because it sits on the bottom. So anyway, the real seams, because there's false seams and real seams. So the real seams have spread. They're about 1/4 of an inch instead of 1/8 of an inch. So and not all of them, but over the course of the whole bow, it's like the front part of the boat has spread, like a total of an inch. Although, I mean, I've checked all the ribs and stuff. Everything still seems structurally sound, but it's just an old boat. So I think it's whatever. That's what I think. So anyway, I figured that, the 3/16 would get me closer to the 1/4 inch, so that it's not like 1/8 inch seams and then a 1/4 inch seam every, big seam, little seam, little seam, big seam. So, and I haven't done any of the real seams yet with the router. I got most of the caulk out, and I bought a 1/4 inch router bit, so clean those out. But you can see stuff like, again, it's hard for me to see the screen, so I don't know if I'm pointing the camera the right way, but you can see like where the handrail was, and you can see the dark where apparently nobody could figure out how to sand under it. But again, it's like it was 4 bolts. I took it off in like 10 minutes. It's like, just take it off, sand it down, put it back on. That's the kind of lack of thoroughness that just kills me. Wait till I show you the hatch. Same thing up here with the anchor thing, whatever, anchor retainer, I don't know what you call it, but and/or the windlass. The windlass was literally 2 bolts. I took off 2 bolts, and I mean, you can see like under where the wheel was, they couldn't sand under that or whatever, and it just looks ridiculous. I mean, it's just sad. Same thing with the hatch, as you can see. And one of my favorite parts about the hatch is you can see that it was actually quote unquote glued down with blue silicone ATV like head gasket stuff. It doesn't work. Just in case anybody needed to know and was thinking about maybe using head gasket material to seal down boat parts, it doesn't work. Don't do it. It's pretty much ridiculous. But it's sad because that means that somebody actually had the entire hatch off recently and didn't fix this. Didn't sand that down. There's like no caulk, right here. Like why? I don't understand. It took me 10 minutes to take the hatch off. So it's like, spend that extra 10 minutes and do things a little more thoroughly. We're already at 8 minutes. So anyway, yeah, I could go on. There's definitely stuff that I'm going to do, but I was really worried when I bought the boat that the plywood substrate underneath the deck was rotten in places, and it turns out it's only rotten in 2 places, and they're both on the inside of the boat, like behind the windshield, and they're about like football-sized sections, and so I'm not entirely worried about it. Because it's not load-bearing, the only load that it's bearing is my cat, who walks across the dashboard inside the boat. It's really not a big deal. The only thing that I am going to have to fix, totally decided how to do it yet, is this. You can see, I don't know how well you can see it, but this is really puckered up. So, what I'm going to do is cut along this seam right here, this false seam, and this false seam, because it's flat, on this side and on this side. It's just these 2 planks, little, fake planks or whatever, this section, this like 6-inch section or whatever. And so I'm going to set the depth right, just to cut the planks and not the plywood underneath, of course. And pull that out and replace it, just scarf out a new like false seam down the middle of the new piece, and then the real seam will be here and here, and there'll be 2 real seams instead of this 1 fake seam. Because it's puckered so much, I guess you can't really tell from the camera, but yeah, it's puckered enough that if I tried to sand it down flat, it would be like 1/4 inch thick right here. really, yeah, you just can't tell on camera, but it's pretty pronounced. So the only kind of debate with that on me is whether or not I want to try and cut it right along. You see that dark part at the base of the windshield? That's where I took off the quarter round. So I don't know if I want to cut this section this way under where that quarter round would be, you know, so it's not seen, and of course that'll all be sealed, or if I want to try and take out the entire, these planks run under the windshield all the way to the edge of the dashboard, which I'll show in a different video, but I don't know if I want to try and get out the entire section. It's really just a question of if I can. I'll probably cut that at the base of the windshield and then try and get out the inside section. The problem is it's screwed in from the bottom, and because of the leaking in the windshield, those screws are really corroded, and so I don't know. It's not like you can, because you can't slide it out, you know, I mean, I can drill off the head, but you're not going to be able to really drill out the whole screw and then be able to slide it out. So it's a question of whether or not, how easy it is to get out the screws on the inside. I mean, obviously on the outside I'm not that worried. I can get out these screws right here and just lift these boards off, you know, regardless of the screws that are coming up from the bottom. So we'll see. I haven't totally decided exactly how to tackle that, but like right there's a perfect example. You can see like this is a real seam, and you can see how much it's spread from the original 1/8 of an inch. And so that's why I'm routering these out to be 3/16, because this is just about a quarter. So that way they'll look a lot more even. So anyway, I am about, this is like the halfway point. I've done all that. I haven't routed it all, but most of it. So I'm about halfway done. The only thing that's kind of holding me up is there are so many, and I'm sure that they won't show up on camera either, but especially up here where all this hardware and stuff was, it's like I'm running the router over it, and the router moves because little bumps and stuff, and so it's like, ooh, you know, I mean, nothing major or anything, but it was pissing me off enough yesterday that I was like, you know, I'll do a quick sand. It kind of knocked down all the little bumps and whatever, so that way the router can run smoothly. Which also then I decided to try and get off the this windlass deal. So, and yeah, I took off all 4 of these bolts going around the side because I was hoping I could lift. What I assumed was I'd lift off this top cover, and then there'd be, you know, screws on the inside screwing it down, and that's not the case because, you know, this goes through the top, and so I tried to get this screw off, and I don't know how the hell you do that. I'm gonna have to talk to somebody because it just turns. The whole thing turns, you know. And I'm pretty sure it's not reverse threaded. I mean, I looked, but I checked. I ran my fingernails on the thread, and it definitely went the normal way. It seemed like. So I don't know how the hell you brace this so that you can. I tried wedging stuff underneath and whatever. So anyway, yeah, as it turns out, it was 2 bolts on the inside going up. Pulled them out, and I can at least move this and cut the wire. If I can get inside, I can disconnect the wire proper, but I'm rewiring everything anyway, so I might just cut the wire and then scrape off this neoprene, and it's pretty amazing, the like crap and like corrosion over there. Look at that. Ugh. I don't even know. So that's the kind of stuff where it's like, wow, it's 2 bolts, and look at what you could fix by doing that. So I guess the mission today is to get the handrail and all this stuff that's just kind of stacked up off, so that I can then get out the rest of the caulk via the razor knife and get off like the windlass and stuff, and then knock it all down with the sander and then go over and router it. So it shouldn't take too long. It's amazing how hot it is up here, though. I'm going to need to go to that Goodwill and get some more sheets for sure. That works really, really well. Amazing. Cover the whole... I mean, it's covered in plastic. Now I'm going to cover it in bed sheets. It's like a gypsy camp, really. gypsies. Anyway, so yeah, I mean, there'll be other videos and stuff as I continue along, and just wanted to make one just before I get rid of the majority of the crud, so that document posterity's sake, you know. But yeah, pretty much everywhere where the varnish is really light, I don't know if you can see it again, I can't see the screen, but you know, like right there, it just peels right up. I mean, in sheets, like, I mean, if I was using something other than my fingernail, you could just peel it up. So I'm gonna go with oil, probably, as long as I can seal everything up pretty well. But yeah, it blows my mind, some of the stuff, you know? I mean, like, instead of taking off the little anchor retainer thing, and you probably can't really see it, but it's like, just slap the varnish on. Just varnish everything. You just, you know? I mean, I have varnish dripping down the windshield. I'll show you that sometime. It's amazing. Just slopping it around. You know, all the little handrail things and stuff like that. It's like, you don't need to bother to mask anything off. Just varnish it, you know? I mean, not that they're in great shape, but I mean, way to be thorough. Way to be detailed. Detail-oriented, last person who varnished this boat. But, so yeah, I'm kind of like also rebuilding the hatch and stuff, because it was literally assembled with silicone and then attached with Blue ATV head gasket sealant. I mean, it leaked like in 20 places. It was raining through the hatch, and you know, I was told that the hatch had just been redone, and it was great. And it's like, yeah, it's fantastic. Fuck. So anyway, that's what we're doing today. Oh, it's hot. Alright, so I'm gonna quit procrastinating and get up here and